do not need to smoke. Y'all know what happened to me. Getting smacked by Suge Smith. Everybody knows. Everybody fucking knows. Yes, it happened. I got smacked like a year ago. Fucking last week, I got smacked.
I hate the hit game Among Us.
Why is Will Smith walking towards me?
Sussy baka.
Chris Rock just stood face to face with Will Smith and said what we were all thinking. But that's nothing compared to the verbal beatdowns he's delivered to Hollywood's biggest names right to their faces. Some laughed, others cried, all got served. Chris Rock doesn't just roast celebrities. He performs surgical strikes on egos with the precision of a master comedian who's been perfecting his craft for over 3 decades. When most comedians throw soft punches at award shows, Chris comes with haymakers that leave A-listers questioning their life choices. The man has turned celebrity roasting into an art form, and he's never been one to hold back just because someone's sitting in the front row. Whether it's at the Oscars, Comedy Central roasts, or his own stand-up specials, Chris Rock has consistently proven that no star is too big to catch these comedic hands.
That was a nice one. Okay. I'm out here. Richard. Oh, wow. Wow. Will Smith just smacked the shit out of me.
Keep my wife's name out your fucking mouth.
Wow, dude.
Yes.
It was a G.I. Jane jump.
Keep my wife's name out your fucking mouth.
Look at Jada's reaction.
Keep my wife's name out your fucking mouth.
Wow, dude.
Yes.
It was a G.I. Jane jump.
Keep my wife's name out your fucking mouth.
I'm going to, okay?
Let's start with the moment that changed everything. The 2022 Oscars. Will Smith is sitting right there in the audience when Chris delivers that now infamous joke about Jada Pinkett Smith.
Jada, I love you. G.I. Jane 2, can't wait to see it. All right? that was a nice one. Okay.
The camera immediately cuts to Jada's face, and you can see the exact moment she realizes she's been targeted. What happened next made history, but let's focus on Chris's reaction. After getting slapped on live television in front of millions, this man composed himself and said,
Will Smith just smacked the shit out of me.
No screaming, no security calls, just pure professional composure while delivering the most memorable Oscar moment ever. The aftermath was even more telling. Chris continued with the show like a true professional, but you could see the wheels turning in his head. He knew he had just witnessed career suicide in real time, and his follow-up line proved it. That was the greatest night in the history of television. The way he delivered that line looking directly into the camera showed he understood the magnitude of what had just happened. Will Smith had just handed Chris Rock the biggest comedic gift of his career.
Well, I'm here at the Academy Awards, otherwise known as the White People's Choice Awards.
That wasn't Chris's first rodeo at the Oscars either. Back in 2016, he hosted the ceremony during the height of the Oscars So White controversy. Instead of playing it safe, Chris went straight for Hollywood's throat. He opened with, "Welcome to the White People's Choice Awards." The camera panned across an audience of mostly white faces, and you could feel the tension in that room. But Chris wasn't done. He looked directly at the Academy members and said, "You realize if they nominated hosts, I wouldn't even get this job." The uncomfortable laughter from the audience told you everything you needed to know.
You realize if they nominated host, I wouldn't even get this job. So y'all be watching Neil Patrick Harris right now.
The genius of that 2016 performance was how Chris turned the controversy into content gold. He spent the entire opening monologue systematically dismantling Hollywood's diversity problem while standing on their biggest stage. When he said, "Is it harder for black actors to get work, or is it just harder for white actors to not get work?" you could see industry executives squirming in their seats. Chris was calling out the entire system while they sat there forced to smile and clap. Then there's his legendary takedown of Jude Law during that same ceremony. Chris looked straight at the camera and said, "What the hell is Jude Law doing in every movie? He's in everything. He was in that movie with the woman. He was in the movie with the man." The camera caught Jude Law's face and homeboy looked like he wanted to disappear into his seat. Chris continued, "I don't know what's going on. You pay money, you're expecting to see like Batman, and there's Jude Law." The audience erupted, but Jude Law's expression said he wasn't laughing. What made that Jude Law moment so brutal was the specificity. Chris wasn't just making random jokes. He was pointing out a real industry pattern where certain actors get cast in everything regardless of box office performance. Jude Law knew it was true, the audience knew it was true, and Chris delivered that truth with surgical precision. Comedy Central roasts have always been Chris Rock's playground, and he's delivered some of the most savage moments in roast history. During the Charlie Sheen roast, Chris looked directly at the troubled actor and said, "Charlie, you've done so much cocaine, your blood type is powder." Charlie was laughing, but Chris wasn't finished. "You've been married so many times, your divorce lawyer has you on speed dial." The personal shots kept coming, and Charlie's laughter became increasingly forced as Chris systematically destroyed every aspect of his public persona. The Charlie Sheen roast showcased Chris's ability to take someone's lowest moments and turn them into comedy gold without crossing into cruelty. Every joke had truth behind it, but Chris delivered them with such perfect timing that even Charlie had to respect the craft. When Chris said, "Charlie's been in rehab so many times, they gave him a frequent flyer card," you could see Charlie genuinely appreciating the wordplay even as he was getting destroyed.
You know, Pam, I don't know what time VIP come on. I don't know what day it come on.
It's on the weekend, you have to...
I don't know what channel it's on, but I never miss it.
But perhaps the most brutal roast moment came during the Pamela Anderson roast. Chris stood up, looked directly at the Baywatch star and said, "Pamela, you've had more surgery than a war veteran." The audience gasped. Pamela's smile froze on her face. Chris continued, "You look like you've been hit by every truck on the freeway, then had plastic surgery to fix the damage, then got hit again." The camera work was perfect, catching every micro expression on Pamela's face as she tried to maintain her composure. Hugh Hefner was also in Chris's crosshairs that night. Looking directly at the Playboy founder, Chris said, "Hugh, you're so old, your first centerfold was a cave painting." The 80-something Hefner was sitting right there, and Chris just kept going. "You've been around so long, you knew the Dead Sea when it was just feeling a little under the weather." Hefner's young girlfriends were cracking up, but you could see Hef wasn't exactly thrilled with being reminded of his advanced age. The Hugh Hefner destruction was masterful because Chris understood his target's insecurities. Here's a man who built an empire on youth and sexuality, surrounded by women young enough to be his great-granddaughters. Chris zeroed in on the one thing Hefner couldn't control or buy his way out of: time itself.
Kevin's made amazing movies. My favorite movie of Kevin's is The Upside. You ever see The Upside? Kevin and Bryan Cranston, Kevin's his helper. You gotta see it. It's the best acting Kevin Hart has ever done. Because in the movie, he had to act like he had less money than Bryan Cranston. Excellence in TV, we got excellence in movies too. A lot of excellent black movies, man. And some of them don't even have Kevin Hart in them. There are movies, Kevin Hart's in everything. My man is in every movie there is. I see Kevin, and sometimes he in the trailer and not in the movie.
Chris Rock's ability to read a room and adjust his material on the fly is what separates him from other comedians. During a 2018 Netflix special filmed at the Brooklyn Academy of Music, he noticed several celebrities in the audience and decided to go off script. Kevin Hart was sitting in the front row, and Chris immediately pounced. "Kevin Hart is here, everybody. Kevin, stand up." Kevin reluctantly stood, and Chris said, "There he is, still sitting down." The audience lost it, and Kevin had no choice but to laugh along as Chris continued, "Kevin's so short, he has to look up to look down on people." The Kevin Hart moment demonstrated Chris's crowd work mastery. Instead of ignoring the celebrity presence, he turned it into content. Kevin Hart, one of the biggest comedians in the world, became a prop in Chris's show. The power dynamic shift was immediate and undeniable. The magic happens when celebrities think they're safe in the audience, only to become part of the show. During that same Brooklyn performance, Chris spotted Jay-Z in the crowd. Instead of giving him the usual celebrity acknowledgement, Chris went straight for the jugular. Jay-Z is here tonight. Jay, remember when you weren't married to Beyonce and you were just a drug dealer? The camera caught Jay's face, and while he was smiling, his eyes said something completely different. Chris continued, "Now you're worth $1 billion. That's the American dream right there, from crack to Ciroc." What makes Chris Rock's celebrity destruction so effective is his ability to find the truth in every joke. When he went after Tiger Woods during his 2018 special, he didn't just make golf jokes. Chris looked directly into the camera and said, "Tiger Woods. We all know what happened. Tiger got caught cheating, and everybody acted surprised. The man's been hitting balls into holes his whole career." The audience was dying, but Chris wasn't done with the golf metaphor. Tiger's problem wasn't the cheating. His problem was he got caught with the wrong kind of clubs. The Tiger Woods material showed Chris's genius for extended metaphors. He took the golf imagery and ran with it for several minutes, creating layer upon layer of meaning. Every punchline built on the previous one, creating a comedic masterpiece that dissected Tiger's scandal while celebrating the absurdity of public outrage. The Eddie Murphy influence runs deep in Chris Rock's comedy DNA, and you can see it when he takes on fellow comedians. During a 2019 stand-up show in Los Angeles, Steve Harvey was in the audience. Chris immediately locked onto him. Steve Harvey is here tonight. Steve, you've hosted more game shows than Regis Philbin. Steve was laughing, but Chris kept digging. Family Feud, Steve? Really? You went from doing comedy to asking people to name things that are round. The audience was cracking up while Steve tried to maintain his composure. The Steve Harvey roast highlighted the generational divide in comedy. Here was Chris, still doing edgy stand-up, calling out Steve for taking the safe, family-friendly television route. The subtext was clear. Steve had sold out his comedic edge for mainstream success, but Chris's most surgical strikes often come during unexpected moments. At the 2020 Golden Globes, he wasn't even hosting, but when he presented an award, he couldn't resist taking shots. Looking out at the audience of celebrities, he said, "This is a room full of people who pretend to be other people for money. In any other context, we'd call that identity theft." The camera panned across confused celebrity face as Chris continued, "But tonight, we call it entertainment." The Golden Globes moment was pure Chris Rock philosophy. He took the entire premise of acting and reframed it as organized deception. The joke worked because it contained an uncomfortable truth that nobody wanted to acknowledge. What separates Chris Rock from other celebrity roasters is his fearlessness. When most comedians punch up carefully, Chris Rock delivers knockout blows. During his 2021 special Total Blackout, he addressed the cancel culture conversation head on while taking shots at specific celebrities who faced public scrutiny. Looking directly into the camera, he said, "Everybody's scared to say anything now. You can't make jokes about anybody. Well, I'm still gonna make jokes about everybody." The beauty of Chris Rock's celebrity destruction isn't just the jokes themselves. It's watching powerful, wealthy, famous people realize they're completely powerless at that moment. They can't walk away. They can't fight back. All they can do is sit there and take it while millions of people watch them get verbally dismantled by a master craftsman. Hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell because we're diving deep into more savage celebrity moments that had Hollywood shaking. Which Chris Rock roast hit the hardest? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, and thank you for watching today's video. See you in the next one.